This is Sanjay. My topic is XML using CSS. Here, XML is uh, XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. We know that XML is used for sharing structural information between two computers or between people or between networks. This is what XML is used for. It is also dynamic markup language. Why we are calling it dynamic? Because we can write it in less code, that is in less lines for compiling. At first only told that it is used for transferring or sharing data between computers or computers or people or networks, that is transforming data from one form to another form. Here XML file is displayed in two ways. That is, first is CSS. CSS stands for cascading style sheet. Cascading style sheet used for uh, giving font size, giving bold letters. For that, we are using CSS. Here, extensible style sheet language transformation displaying XML file using CSS. This is the topic we are discussing now. Here, CSS is used to display the contents of XML documents in a clear and precise manner. Basic steps in defining a CSS sheet. First of all, we define the font size, color, font weight, that is in bold or italic, that we define will be defined in CSS, and it will be displayed as a block or inline or list type elements using the display property of CSS. We have to identify the titles and we have to bold them. Here we have to here we have to display the XML by using a link. That is, we can use a href attribute. It is a attribute, and we are using a text file in here. So that's why we are using XML style sheet, that is type equals to text / CSS, and we are referring a attribute, that is href. Href is equal to name of CSS file. That's what you saved in that HTML or CSS folder. The file would be saved in .css because we are doing it in cascading style sheet. Here there is an example for XML file. We are creating books, like it is creating books.xml as. Then we already discussed that we have to use one link, I mean one attribute to link the saved file. That is, here style sheet type equals to text / CSS and href attribute, that is rules.css. Here we have a, while we are writing a HTML file, we have to use some tags. Now I'm using we have heading tag, paragraph tag. So I'm using here books as one tag. Here see, there is a heading, welcome to Geeks for Geeks, and we have to open the tag, and at after the completion of that tag, we have to close the tag also. So we are closing slash heading. Now we are giving a title, that is web programming. Now we are closing the title tag. Now we are giving information for author. We are opening a author tag and giving some name as Chris Bates, and now the author tag is closed. Now coming to publisher, here also same, we have to open the tag, we have to give the text name like publisher is Willy, and we have to close the tag, that is slash publisher. Now coming to edition, now we have to give some edition, like every book has some editions, up to 3-4 editions or 5 editions like that. Here they he given that that is a third edition, and we have to close the tag. Now coming to price, the price by cost 300. We have, and we have to text, I mean the cost of, and now we are close tag. So everywhere when we are using this HTML CSS files, we do tags and closing. Now we are going to another title, that is Internet World Wide Web, www. Now we are closing the title tag. I already told that first we have to open the tag, and at 10 after giving the text or CSS file, we have to close the tag. Here title tag is over. Next coming to author, we have to open the author tag, and then we have the text is the author is detail, and now we have to close the tag slash author. Now we have, while coming to publisher, publisher is Pearson, and we have to close the tag slash publisher. Now edition, it is third edition, we have to close the tag. Now coming to price, the cost of that book is 400. Now we have to close the tag. Then we have, first we have opened a tag named book. Now we have to close the tag also. Same for another also, same title, computer networks, author, publisher, edition, price. We have to open the tags and give the text files like title, computer, CN, author, 4000, publisher, MC Grahil, edition, 5th edition, and price is 700. After giving these text files, we have to close all the tags. And finally, we close the opened book tag. Same here also, title is DBMS, and there is an author and publisher is Oxford. We have to close the publisher tag. We have to now open the edition tag. This is 5th edition, and now we have to close the tag. The price of the book is 600. We have opened a open tag, and then we close it using slash price. And same repetition. Now for we are going to output. Here we have written a CSS file using XML. For that we have got an output, that is, first we took some title, that is web programming, and the output printed that about author, publisher, edition, and price. Then next title, then next title. Like that we have got five titles: web programming, internet world wide web, computer networks, DVMS concepts, Linux programming, and about author, publisher, edition, price. Like this we got an output. Thank you.
Hello, good evening everyone. I'm Sainath, and I'm going to discuss about displaying XML using extensible style sheet language transformation, XSLT. XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. It is not a programming language, and it is much like HTML language. HTML, it is a markup language which indicates that it uses tags and elements to give instructions to the browser. It can be styled using two ways. One is using CSS and other is XSLT. Now, XSLT stands for Extensible Style Sheet Language Transformation. It uses XPath to perform the matching of the nodes to perform different kinds of transformations. By applying XSLT on XML document, we may get an XML or any HTML or any other kind of text document as a result. Yeah. XSLT is used to transform XML from one form to the another. In simpler words, we can say that XSLT document is another type of XML document, and the XSL code is saved with an extension of .xsl. Next slide. Now coming to XML namespace, these are the unique namespaces. XML namespaces are unique names, and it is a mechanism by which elements are attributes. Elements is assigned to a group. XML namespace is recommended by W3C, which means for World Wide Web Consortium, which is an international organization which work on developing these web pages. These XML namespace can be declared using reserved attributes such as XML NS, and below is the syntax. You can see that there is XML NS colon name equal to URL. The namespace starts with XML NS, which is a reserved attribute, and the URL is the namespace identifier. Now coming to XPath, XPath is an important component of XSLT standards. It is used to traverse through the elements and attributes of an XML document. It contains a standard library of standard functions. Below one is an example where bookstore / book1 fetches the details of the first child of the bookstore element, and similarly bookstore / book last fetches the last child of a bookstore element. Now templates. An XSL style sheets contain one or more set of rules known as templates. So these rules are also known as templates. These templates are applied when a specific element is matched. XSLT document has the following things. The first one is the root element of the style sheet, a file of extension XSL, the syntax of XSLT, the standard namespace with the URL. So below is an example of a file of an XML file. Next slide. So this is an XML file in which we linked XSL file inside. So the first element is student one is Divyang Singh Sikarwar, and his branch is CSC with an age 18, and he belongs to Agra city. So for every student there are four elements: name, branch, age, and city. Without using XSL file, we get a plain text. Similarly, the second student is Aniket Chauhan from branch CSC with an age 20 from Shahjahanpur. And similarly, we have details of other 3 students with name, branch, age, and city attributes. So we close the student tag at the ending. Here is the XSL code. Here we open a HTML tag. Inside there is a body tag. We give the H1 heading and align it to the center. The heading is students basic details, and TR we created a table with border 3 and it is also aligned to center, and TR tag is used to create new row. In first row we gave a column value such as name, branch, and age and city, and after that for each student we created tags such as name, branch, age, and city. So we close the HTML tag and body tag. That's it. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Now I'm going to talk about using XML processors. First of all, we will know what is an XML processor. It is a software program written in Java that reads an XML document and processes it. As DOM defines the properties and methods for accessing and editing XML, it is required to process the document into an XML DOM object. There are 2 types of XML processors, Sax Processor and Dom Parser. Sax stands for Simple API for XML. DOM stands for Document Object Model. Purpose of using XML parsers. It lies in between the application and the XML documents. The XML processor renders the XML DOM object to the application. The converted XML DOM object can then be manipulated with JavaScript. Most of the browsers have an inbuilt XML parser to access and manipulate the XML document. This XML processor validates the XML document and checks that the document is well formatted. The XML processor and the parser are the same, but it is not applied to another programming languages. Sax Parser. A Sax Parser implements Sax API, that is, Simple API for XML. This is an event-based API which functions based on the events that take place in XML document. The events can be like start element and tag element, start of a document, etc. It is very fast and requires very little memory. So it can be used for huge and large amount of documents. Features of a Sax parser. As it is not an object-based parser, it does not create any parse tree. Client has just to override the methods which are inbuilt with his own code. It works like an event handler in Java. Working of Sax Parser. A Sax Parser works through callbacks. Clients call the parser and the parser then calls the methods. The important methods to override are start element, end element, and characters. When a Sax parser starts parsing the document, then if any start tag is encountered, start element method is called. Characters method is called when any character data is found by Sax parser inside an element. End element method is used to set employee object properties by using string builder data. That is, the data which has been gathered from the call of start element method. This is an example parser code. Here the parser code is collecting the employees list using getEmployeeList method. And it is printing each employee list. This is the XML document containing the employees list. So this will be the output on parsing. Advantages of an XML parser. As we have discussed, it is a simple and memory efficient parser. It is very fast and works for huge XML documents. Selective processing. That is, if we want to work based on start element, only it will be processed. So it is not required to process the entire document. Using callbacking that helps in responding only to certain XML elements. Disadvantages of Sax Parser. As it is event based, it is difficult to understand. It cannot modify the document. Poor navigation facilities. It does not create the path tree, and there will not be any random access. Thank you.
Good evening, friends. My name is Gaurav. I am going to tell you about Dom Parser. The DOM represents the document object model. If the object contains some information of XML document, then it is called Dom Parser. When you parse an XML document with a Dom Parser, you get back a tree structure that contains all the elements of your document. Dom API implementation is easy and simple to use. It provides a variety of functions so that we can use it for examine the content and structure of document. In the diagram, we can see that how XML document is converted into DOM tree. Next is read XML with Dom Parser. In this we have done a employee program. First we will get the document builder. Document builder means that it will obtain DOM document instances from an XML document. After that we will build the document. Then we will normalize the XML structure. Normalization of XML means Xml Parser can produce normalized output of any parsed document. It is very important to normalize the XML structure. After that comes the root node. The root node means highest node in the tree structure and it has no parent. After that we will take the details of the employee such as employee ID, first name, last name and the location. Here is the output in which email ID, first name, last name and location is taken. After that next is when to use Dom Parser. We can use Dom Parser when the move parts of XML document around is needed. We can use Dom Parser if we use to the information in an XML document more than once. We can need to use the Dom Parser if we have to know lot about the structure of the document. Next is the feature of Dom Parser. The Dom Parser can create internal structure. From the internal structure, the client can get the information about original XML docs. Next is advantages of Dom Parser. The Dom Parser is easy to use. It can make changes directly to the tree in memory. We can go forward and backward directions in the tree. We can randomly access a wide part of the document. We can do both writing and reading operations from Dom Parser. Disadvantages of Dom Parser. It is slow comparison to Sax Parser. Its efficiency of memory is not good. It takes more memory cause XML doc needs to load in there. The entire XML document must be parsed at once. The conversion of entire tree into memory is expensive. Next topic is the difference between Dom and Sex Parser. First point is that Sex Parser is called simple API for XML Parser, and the Dom Parser is called a document object model. In Sax Parser, it is a event-based parser, while Dom Parser stays in a tree structure. Sax Parser is faster than Dom Parser, and in Dom Parser it is slower than Sax Parser. Sax Parser is best for the large sizes of the file, while Dom Parser is best for the small sizes of the file. In Sax Parser, it is suitable for making XML files in Java, while it is not in Dom Parser. It is not good at making XML files in low memory. The Sax Parser has can only load a small part of XML in the memory, while Dom Parser can load whole XML document in the memory. In Sax Parser, it is suitable for efficient memory, while Dom Parser is suitable for large XML document. In Sax Parser, we can only read, while in Dom Parser, we can insert or delete nodes. In Sax Parser, we can't go backward in the direction, while in Dom Parser, we can go backward in the direction. The Sax Parser cannot create its internal structure, while Dom Parser can create its internal structure. The next topic is questions. I have prepared this question from the explanation part of my topics. I expect that you will be able to answer these questions if anyone asks. After that, it is the sources from which I have made the PPT. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Veena and I am here to discuss about the XML processor. First, what is XML processor? When a software program reads an XML document and takes actions accordingly, the entire process is known as processing the XML. Any program that can read and process XML document is known as XML processor. XML processor reads an XML document and converts it into an internal representation for other programs or subroutines to use. This is called a parser. Parser plays an important role in the processing of XML programs. Coming to the parser, XML parsers are also known as XML processor. XML parser can be defined as software library that provides interfaces for client applications to work with an XML document. The XML parser is designed to read the XML and create a way for programs to use the XML. XML parser also validates the documents and checks whether the XML document is well formatted or not. Nowadays, all the browsers having their built-in XML parsers. This is the diagrammatic representation of XML parser, and here it provides the interfaces for client application to work with the XML documents. To validate the structure of data stored in an XML document against the document type definition, you need to use parsers. There are two kinds of parsers, validating parser and non-validating parsers. Thank you.
Hi guys, this is Nanda. Now we are going to have a small discussion about classification of XML parsers. XML parsers are classified as validating or non-validating types, depending on whether or not they check XML documents for validating. Here there is a small diagram for XML parsers and their classifications. Now looking into the validating parser. A validating parser checks the syntax, builds the tree structure, and compares the structure of the XML documents with the structure specified in the DTD associated with the document. Here DTD stands for document type definition. A DTD defines the structure and the legal elements and attributes of XML documents. Validating parsers are slower than non-validating parsers. A few validating parsers are IBM XML 4J, Microsoft MS XML in Java, Oracle XML Parser, and the last Sun Java Project X. Here the details of IBM XML 4J and Microsoft MS XML in Java, and also Oracle XML Parser and Sun Java Project X. Looking into non-validating parser. A non-validating parser checks if a document follows the XML syntax. It builds the tree section from the tags using the XML documents and return an error only when there is a problem in the syntax of documents. In non-validating parser, it doesn't check every element against a DTD. Because of this reason, non-validating parsers are faster than validating parser. A few non-validating parsers are Alfred, IBM XML 4J, Lark, Oracle XML Parser, Sun Java Projects, XP. Here are in-depth details of these parsers, Alfred and IBM XML 4J, and then Lark and Oracle XML Parser. Finally, Sun Java Project X and XP. Thank you.